Screen is visible, right? Screen കാണാമല്ലോ.
Sir, കാണാം.
Oh, so we will be starting with module 4 today. We have completed module 3 in the last class, and we have seen the previous year question papers also for that. So I think from module 3 and module 4, you should observe or watch how the question papers are coming in the previous semesters. So that is very important from module 3 and module 4, because we can see a lot of questions are repeatedly asked. So you need to see that also. നമുക്ക് ഒരു 4 question paper ആണ് തോന്നുന്നു അവൈലബിൾ ആയിട്ടുള്ളത്. So if you observe that, you can understand that most of the questions are repeatedly asked. So rather than focusing on all the topics, it will be better if you focus on the questions which are asked repeatedly. So this is actually the syllabus for module 4. In module 4, we'll be getting a brief idea about the programming concepts in embedded systems. Okay, embedded system programming, embedded system, it's one of the part is hardware, obviously, and we have so far dealt with the hardware part. Now we will be going to deal what is the software component, since we had hardware, software, and operating system as parts of embedded system. അങ്ങനെ 3 parts ആണ് നമ്മൾ first module പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുള്ളത്. We had the software part, we had the hardware part, and we are having the operating system or real-time operating system. So hardware part, we have seen the different components and the structure, architecture, and all we have seen in the modules that we discussed so far. And now onwards, we are going to look at the software part. We had a very brief discussion about this while we discussed in the first module, but here we will be going a bit detail. So this actually includes programming concepts of embedded programming, then features of embedded C++ and embedded Java, basics only, then software implementation, testing, validation and debugging, system on chip, and this will be the topic. And design examples are there: mobile phones, ATM machine, and set-top box. So these are the design examples that I mentioned in your syllabus. Then let me take you through the question paper also. Question paper just come so that you will get an idea how the questions have been asked. So module 4 is usually asked in part B. So here you can see നമ്മുടെ സിലബസിലുള്ളത് വെച്ച് നോക്കുകയാണെങ്കിൽ features of embedded C++, explain each one in detail. So that is asked for 7 marks. So features of embedded C++ is actually a question that is repeatedly asked, I think, in almost all the question papers. So please focus on that, features of embedded C++. Then what are the common software tools that are used for testing and debugging during embedded system development? Explain with examples. That is another question that is usually being asked. Yeah, and then it's asked like discuss the hardware and software components required for designing an ATM. Okay, these 3 questions have been asked from module 4. So here you can see in another question paper you can see, yeah, what are the features of embedded C++? Again asked for 7 marks. Then with a suitable example, differentiate testing and validation. What is meant by system on chip? Explain that example. That is another question paper. Then coming to another question paper, you can see, list the features of embedded C++. Then various debugging techniques used in embedded system design. Then distinguish between clear box and black box testing methods in embedded system. List suitable examples. So in these 3 question papers, you can see this question is actually repeating. Like features of embedded C++, you can see that in all question papers. So coming to this one, different methods of testing software, software validation and debugging, components of system on chip, and disadvantages of embedded C++. Disadvantages will come under features. Features not then we will be having advantages and disadvantages. So I hope you have an idea of which all will be the questions, at least which are the questions that are being asked in university. So here module 4 നോക്കാൻ, rather than reading or studying entire topic, focus on these topics. Okay, initially we will move to the first topic, which is assembly language. We will start with assembly language. Assembly language is actually coming as part of the first topic. Programming concepts of embedded programming assembly language. So I hope you know about assembly language, where we usually code in terms of a certain mnemonics. Mnemonics use ചെയ്തിട്ടാണ് നമ്മൾ assembly language codes നമ്മൾ prepare ചെയ്യുന്നത്. You will be aware of mnemonic codes and all. So if we are performing an addition operation, we'll be using a mnemonic code like ADD. Or if we are using a subtraction, we'll be using a mnemonic code of SUB and all. So in that manner, we'll be writing the codes in assembly language. So for that, assembly language in the main feature, it requires, or the programmer who writes the code or the coder should have a thorough understanding of the processor architecture, memory organization, register sets, and mnemonics if you want to code in assembly language. So these are actually the requirements needed for coding in assembly language. Okay, so this should be the point that should be coming in your mind when you are dealing with assembly language coding. The programmer should have a thorough understanding of the processor architecture first thing, memory organization, how the memories have been organized, register sets, and mnemonics. Okay. The assembly language program written in assembly code is saved as .asm or .src file. Assembly file auto, source file auto, we can save that, the program that we write in assembly code. Any text editor like Notepad or WordPad from Microsoft, or the text editor provided by IDE tool, can be used for writing the assembly instruction. IDE tool is actually it's a platform for writing coding purpose platform IDE, integrated development tool. So any text editor can be used for coding in assembly language, or for writing the programs in assembly language. We can use any text editor like Notepad, WordPad, or any text editor provided by the IDE tools. Similar to C is a high-level language program. Similar to C and other high-level language programming, you can have multiple source files called modules in assembly language programming. Okay, remember that word, modules. High-level language programming, there is a concept called modular programming. Okay, similar to that, here in the assembly language also we have a chance to use multiple source files called modules. So 2 points that you should remember: the programmer should have a basic idea or thorough idea of the processor architecture, then the register sets, the memory, and the mnemonics if you need to code in assembly language. Second is that any text editor can be used for coding purpose, and it also supports modular, or it also supports to have multiple source files called modules in assembly language program. Each module is represented by .asm or .src file, similar to .c files in C program. This approach is called modular programming. It is employed when the program is too complex or too big. In modular programming, the entire code is divided into sub-modules, and each module is made reusable. So if our program is very large, normally functions are used in other program, we will be creating sub-programs for a certain for a specific task. So that function can be used again and again in our program. So adinanu nammal modular programming nu parayunnu. We can have certain modules used frequently in our program, or used reuse ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുന്ന കുറച്ച് set of instructions or modules. അതിനാണ് നമ്മൾ ആ ഒരു പ്രോസസ്സിനാണ് നമ്മൾ modular programming. So that is supported in assembly language programming as well. And once we ഇത്രയും points മതി നിങ്ങൾക്ക് assembly language, നമുക്ക് ഡീറ്റെയിൽ ആയിട്ട് പോകുന്നില്ല, but you should get a basic idea, right? പ്രോസസ്സറിന്റെ ആർക്കിടെക്ചർ ക്ലിയർ ആയിട്ട് അറിയണം നമുക്ക് assembly language കോഡ് ചെയ്യാൻ. That is one point. We can use any text editors for writing our program. Also, it supports modular program. That is that if the program is very large, we can divide that into sub-modules, and these modules can be reused in the program, within the program. Okay, these are the main points that you should remember from assembly language program. So for any programming language, whether it is high-level language or assembly language or low-level language, so we need a conversion. Like നമ്മൾ ഈ എഴുതുന്ന mnemonics അല്ലെങ്കിൽ add അല്ലെങ്കിൽ sub sub എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ഫംഗ്ഷൻ, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ if you are writing the C++ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ C program എഴുതുമ്പോൾ ഈ പ്രോഗ്രാംസ് ഒന്നും they are not directly understandable by the computer അല്ലെങ്കിൽ processor. processor will definitely, as you know, it will understand only the binary language. 1-0 language മാത്രമേ processor-നെ identify അല്ലെങ്കിൽ മനസ്സിലാക്കാൻ പറ്റുള്ളൂ. So irrespective of the type of programming, that is, whatever be the type of programming, whether it be assembly language or high-level language in the sense C, C++, Java, all this will be coming under high-level language program. So irrespective of the type, these programs have to be converted into hex file or binary file. Hex file അല്ലെങ്കിൽ binary file like we need to transform this programming, assembly language code and high-level language. So for that, we have certain steps. We have already discussed these steps. You will be aware of the terms and all. So as mentioned, here you can see two modules, module 1 and module 2, a set of programs. So for the process of converting this assembly language to machine language means it's a binary or hex file. You can ones and zeros master conversion. So in order to convert that, certain steps are there. You will be aware of the terms. First, we will be having the modules, module 1 and module 2 here. And modules in the program set. Okay, set of program with extension .asm and .src, source file അല്ലെങ്കിൽ assembler file. So these modules will be converted to object files. Okay, these modules will be converted to object file with the help of assembler. So assembler is actually a software which converts the ASM file or assembly language to machine language. Okay, our conversion, binary conversion process on assembler. So assembler is actually the part which does that function. So once the object files are created, object file will be separate for separate modules. We'll be having object file 1 for source file 1, object file 2 for source file 2. But ultimately, we program. What should we do ultimately? What should be the final step? We need to load that into the memory, right? Memory part, like we have divided memory into two parts, mainly. I mean, broadly divided into two parts. Which are they? Memory we using the story. Basically memory using the story. Hello.
Program.
Yes, program data definitely. So namki program of memory like load cheyyanam. Now we have just written that program in some editor. Editor we have saved that in ASM or source file format. Save. Now ultimate step is we need to load this program into the main memory. Memory like load here. That is our aim. Okay, in the format 1-0 format we need to load that. That's conversion. So first step is to convert that into machine language or object file with the help of assembler. We have done that, and now we will use a linker for linking the library files to these object files. Okay, object files functions use which has to be called from, which is actually called from certain library files. We will be having some library files where we will be using some functions. Functions long procedures depending upon certain functions are. These functions will be present in the library. So steps, instructions that will be taken from the libraries. So these library files has to be linked along with the object file. Okay, with the help of linker. So linker will actually combine these object files with the library files. That is the purpose of linker. And then even then, if we combine, we will be getting a single file. But that single file is actually not having a proper address. Memory place still even after performing this combining process, object files combine along with the library files. Object files name, library file name combine process linker. But even then, it doesn't know where to place this program. This program memory level place address. So that is actually called a relocatable file. Okay, the address where to place that on the memory is not understood. It is not known for us. So that is actually done by locator. So it will place, or it will create an absolute object file with an idea of where to place the code or program in the memory. Memory level place locator will give us an idea about that. Okay, and locator will in fact create the absolute object file. So we will be having a single object file. Even though we had different modules like module 1 and module 2, we had different object files. Object file 1, 2, and we combined all this with the help of linker, and locator will give us an address of where to place this combined file in the memory. And we have an absolute object file, and that will be placed into the memory. And that process is, it's not written there, that is loading process, loading the code into the memory. So these are the steps. First one, assembler will be having linker or locator, and then finally we'll be having the loader, which loads the program into the main memory. So these are the general steps. This general steps are which will be the type of basic program. Assembly language, machine language, I mean high level language like C. This will be the general structure, except that you will be having certain terms different. Assembler term assembly language use, whereas in the case of high level languages we will be using a term called compiler. Differences, but this will be the basic block structure. Clear, Anna? Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay. നമ്മൾ initially ചെയ്യുന്നത് assembly language എന്താണെന്ന് നോക്കുന്നുണ്ട്, and then we will learn about what are the disadvantages that we feel in assembly language. Then only we will move to the high level languages. Okay. അതിലാണ് നമ്മൾ ഈ പറയുന്ന ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ പേപ്പർ റിപ്പീറ്റഡ്ലി കണ്ട എംബഡഡ് C++ ഒക്കെ വരുന്നത്. We will come to that, but initially we should understand why we are not using assembly language frequently. These are the explanation for the different steps. Source file to object file translation. Translation of assembly code to machine code is performed by assembler. The assemblers for different target machines are different, and it is common that assemblers from multiple vendors are available in the market for the same target machines. It's not an issue. Assemblers will be different for different target machines. Okay. Each source code is written in assembly and is stored in source file or test file. That's already told. Each file can be assembled separately to examine the syntax and incorrect assembly instructions. So that checking process is also done during the assembling process. Each file is assembled separately to examine the syntax and incorrect assembly instructions. On successful assembling of each source ASM file, a corresponding object file is created with an extension .obj. Assembling process കഴിയുമ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് കിട്ടുന്നത് object file ആണ് with extension .obj. The object file does not contain the absolute address of where the generated code needs to be placed on the program memory, and hence it is called relocatable. So that object file is actually relocatable, which means that it does not know actually where this code has to be placed on program memory. Program memory evade place cheyanannulladu object file still it is not that data is still not available with the code, and so that file is actually called a relocatable file. Okay, and this location അല്ലെങ്കിൽ അതിനെ assign ചെയ്യുന്നത് address is assigned only by the locator. So yeah, and here comes after the object file creation we need to understand about the library file creation. So libraries are specially formatted ordered program collections of object modules that may be used by the linker at a later time. Specially formatted ordered program collections of object modules that may be used by linker at a later time. When the linker processes a library, only those object modules in the library that are necessary to create the program are used. See, we will be having several functions or several features in or several instructions within the library file. നമുക്ക് അതിലെ ചിലപ്പം നമ്മുടെ ലാംഗ്വേജിൽ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ നമ്മൾ കോഡിൽ യൂസ് ചെയ്യുന്ന ഇൻസ്ട്രക്ഷൻസ് മാത്രം മതിയാവും. So that library will be providing those instructions to us or access towards that instruction to us. So library files are generated with extension lib. Library file is some kind of source code hiding technique. Source code hiding technique means if a programmer wants to code or create some functions like ഒരു program എഴുതണം, but that program he doesn't want to reveal that program code. For that he can make it as a library file and make it available to the users. Okay, so if you don't want to reveal the source code behind the various functions you have written in your program, so certain functions നമുക്ക് source code reveal ചെയ്യാൻ താല്പര്യം ഉണ്ടാവില്ല. So in that case, if that is the case and at the same time we want them to be distributed to the application developers for making use of them in their application, you can supply them as library files. So if you are writing a source code and you don't want to reveal that source code to reveal that source code in your program, and at the same time you want them to be distributed to the application developers, what you can do is you can create them as library files. So linker and locator is another software utility responsible for linking the various object modules in a multi-module project and assigning absolute address to each module. Linker generates an absolute object module by extracting the object modules from the library. Definitely, linker എന്ന് പറയുന്ന object files മാത്രം combine ചെയ്യുന്നതല്ല. It's not a process of combining object files, but at the same time it will be using the library files as well. So linker generates an absolute object module by extracting the object modules from the library, if any, and those object files created by the assembler. Okay, both the library as well as the object files created by the assembler, which is generated by assembling the individual modules of a project. Object files വരുന്നത് through the assembling process. Individual modules in assembly ചെയ്തിട്ടാണ് നമുക്ക് object files കിട്ടുന്നത്. We will be combining those object files along with the library files in order to create an absolute object module. It is the responsibility of the linker to link any external dependable variables or functions declared on various modules and resolve the external dependencies among the modules. നമ്മളുടെ പ്രോഗ്രാം അല്ലെങ്കിൽ നമ്മൾ എഴുതിയിരിക്കുന്ന കോഡിലുള്ള എക്സ്റ്റേണൽ ഡിപെൻഡൻസീസ്, ഈ ഫംഗ്ഷൻസിനെ തന്നെയാണ് ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്നത്. എക്സ്റ്റേണൽ ഡിപെൻഡൻസീസിനെ റിസോൾവ് ചെയ്യുക എന്നുള്ളതാണ് ലിങ്കർ എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ആ പാർട്ടിന്റെ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ആ ഒരു സോഫ്റ്റ്വെയറിന്റെ യൂസ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. ഓക്കെ. And finally, Objective hex file converter. This is the final stage of conversion of assembly language to machine language. Hex file is the representation of machine code, and hex file is dumped into the code memory of finally the loading process. Once the complete absolute object file is created, it has to be loaded into the program. That is it. I hope that process is clear, and I hope you have drawn this figure as well. ഈ ഫിഗർ വരയ്ക്കാത്തൊരു വരച്ചിട്ടുണ്ടാവണം. എല്ലാവരും വരച്ചിട്ടുണ്ടല്ലോ കംപ്ലീറ്റ്? ഓക്കെ. Now coming to advantages of assembly language based development. That is the first point. Efficient code memory and data memory usage. So whenever you think about embedded system, the prime concern is about memory. Okay, memory നമുക്ക് അധികം എടുക്കാൻ പറ്റില്ല. Memory എടുക്കാൻ പറ്റില്ല എന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ memory usage is of prime concern when you are going for embedded system development. So assembly language provides us with an advantage like efficient code memory and data memory usage. എന്തുകൊണ്ടാണ്? Here our developer is actually he is well versed with the program code. അല്ലേ? ഡെവലപ്പറിന് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ പ്രോഗ്രാം കോഡ് ചെയ്യുന്ന ആൾക്ക് he is actually well aware of the system architecture and the register sets and all other things which are required for coding the program. So അങ്ങനെയുള്ള കേസിൽ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ since he is aware of all those things, the code that he writes in assembly language will be precise. അല്ലേ? There won't be any unnecessary instructions. So he'll be using the program code in an efficient manner so that it won't take much of the memory. Program codes will be precise since he is aware of the register set, memory and the architecture. അതിനെ പറ്റിയുള്ള കാര്യങ്ങളെല്ലാം പ്രോഗ്രാമറിന് ഡീറ്റെയിൽഡ് ആയിട്ട് അറിയാം. So he'll be coding in a precise manner so that much memory will not be utilized. That's one thing. Efficient code memory and data memory usage. അതൊരു അഡ്വാൻറ്റേജ് ആകാൻ കാരണം whenever we say about embedded system, this handling the memory is a primary concern. Okay, and having said that, ഇപ്പം ഈ മെമ്മറി ഒക്കെ നമ്മൾ എഫക്റ്റീവ്ലി അല്ലെങ്കിൽ എഫിഷ്യന്റ്ലി യൂസ് ചെയ്യുന്ന പറയുമ്പോൾ തന്നെ we can say that we are having an optimized code. അല്ലേ, നമ്മളെ എഫിഷ്യന്റ്ലി മെമ്മറി യൂസ് ചെയ്യുന്ന വെച്ചാൽ നമ്മൾ എഴുതിയിരിക്കുന്ന കോഡ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് നോട്ട് ഹാവിംഗ് എനി അൺനെസറി ഇൻസ്ട്രക്ഷൻസ്. അല്ലെ, നമ്മൾ പ്രിസൈസ് ആയിട്ടായിരിക്കും നമ്മൾ ഇൻസ്ട്രക്ഷൻസ് എഴുതുക. ഇഫ് യു ആർ വെരി മച്ച് അവെയർ ഓഫ് ദി ആർക്കിടെക്ചർ, രജിസ്റ്റർ ഫയൽസ് ആൻഡ് ഓൾ, യു ബി റൈറ്റിംഗ് എ കോഡ് വിച്ച് ഈസ് ഹൈലി പ്രിസൈസ്. സോ ഇൻ ദാറ്റ് സെൻസ് യു ക്യാൻ സേ that particular code is optimized code. കറക്റ്റ് അതിന്റെ പ്രിസൈസ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള കോഡാണ് നമ്മൾ ജനറേറ്റ് ചെയ്തിരിക്കുന്നത് പറയാം. സോ അതുകൊണ്ട് തന്നെ the performance will be high. That is the second point actually. The first point, efficient code memory and data memory usage, and the second code is actually a part of the first one itself. That is because of this optimized code optimized alle precise ആയതുകൊണ്ട് തന്നെ it will provide or it will give us a high system performance. Then low level hardware access. This is actually meant for, I mean, if we are writing a code that should be if we are writing a code that should be accessing the external device specific registers, like ഇപ്പൊ നമുക്ക് ഡ്രൈവർ സോഫ്റ്റ്വെയർസ് ഒക്കെ ഉണ്ടാകും, ഡിവൈസ് ഡ്രൈവേഴ്സ് ഉണ്ടാകും, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഇന്ററപ്റ്റ് റൂട്ടീൻസ് ഒക്കെ ഉണ്ടാകും. സോ ദ കോഡ് ദാറ്റ് വി റൈറ്റ് ഷുഡ് ബി ഏബിൾ ടു ആക്സസ് ദോസ് തിങ്സ് ഓൾസോ. അല്ലെ, ലോ ലെവൽ ഹാർഡ്വെയർസ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഈ ഡിവൈസസ്, എക്സ്റ്റേണൽ ഡിവൈസസ് ആൻഡ് ദ ഇന്ററപ്റ്റ് സർവീസസ്, ഓൾ ദീസ് ഷുഡ് ബി ആക്സസിബിൾ. സോ ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് ആക്ച്വലി പോസിബിൾ ഇൻ അസംബ്ലി ലാംഗ്വേജ് ബേസ്ഡ് പ്രോഗ്രാം. യൂഷ്വലി നമ്മൾ എക്സ്പെക്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നത് ദിസ് യൂഷ്വലി ഈസ് ആക്ച്വലി എക്സ്പെക്ടഡ് ഇൻ ഹൈ ലെവൽ കോഡ്. ഹൈ ലെവൽ കോഡിലാണ് നമുക്ക് ഈ ലോ ലെവൽ ഹാർഡ്വെയർ എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ഈ പറയുന്ന ഡിവൈസ് ഡ്രൈവേഴ്സ് ആയിക്കോട്ടെ, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഇന്റർപ്റ്റ് റൂട്ടീൻസ് ആയിക്കോട്ടെ, ഇതിനൊക്കെ ആക്സസ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും നമ്മൾ പറയുന്നത്. ബട്ട് ഈവൻ ഇൻ അസംബ്ലി ലാംഗ്വേജ് ദിസ് ലോ ലെവൽ ഹാർഡ്വെയർ ആക്സസ് ഈസ് പോസിബിൾ. Then code reverse engineering. These are all advantages. Okay, advantages of assembly language development ആണ് നമ്മൾ ഈ പറയുന്നത്. Code reverse engineering. I think you might have learned about reverse engineering in design project. Design project അല്ല, design and engineering എന്ന് പറയുന്ന സബ്ജക്റ്റിൽ you might have heard the process reverse engineering. Reverse engineering is actually നമുക്കൊരു ടെക്നോളജി അറിയാം, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ we have a final product. We have a product and we need to we need to perform a reverse engineering to know the technology behind that product. അല്ലെ, നമ്മളത് ഈ എപ്പോഴും നമ്മൾ ചെയ്യുക, പല പേറ്റന്റ് കിട്ടിയ പ്രൊഡക്ട്സിലൊക്കെ നമ്മൾ പെർഫോം ചെയ്തതാണ്. ഇപ്പം ഒരു പ്രോഡക്റ്റ് ഡെവലപ്ഡ് ആയിട്ടുണ്ട്, we are not aware, or that company has not revealed the technique or technology behind that. In that sense, what we do is we will collect the finished product and we will perform reverse engineering. That is merely done to get an idea about the technology that is being used in that system. So അതിനാണ് നമ്മൾ റിവേഴ്സ് എഞ്ചിനീയറിംഗ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. So that is actually supported with the help of assembly language. Next point, though most of the products employ code memory protection, if it may be possible to break the memory protection and read code memory, it can easily be converted into assembly code using disassembler program for the target machine. Okay, I mean, this is actually if the hex file code is available to us, okay, എല്ലാ കോഡ്സിനും പ്രൊട്ടക്ഷൻ ഉണ്ടെന്നാണ് പറയുന്നത്. Even then, if it is possible to break the memory protection and read code memory, it can easily be converted into assembly code using disassembler program for target machine. Okay, most of the codes are protected in the memory, but if it is possible to break the memory protection and read code memory, it can easily be converted into assembly code. That's assembly codes are sensitive to processor, memory, ports, and devices. We can say that assembly codes are processor sensitive, memory sensitive, port sensitive, and devices sensitive. It gives a precise control of the processor internal devices and makes full use of processor specific features of the processor instruction set and address. This നമ്മൾ ആദ്യം പറഞ്ഞ പോയിന്റ് തന്നെയാണ്. Since the programmer has to have a very detailed knowledge about processor architecture, because these codes are highly processor sensitive, memory sensitive, port sensitive, and device sensitive. So machine codes are compact and are processor and memory sensitive. That's already mentioned. Compact എന്തുകൊണ്ടാണ് നമുക്ക് അതും ഓൾറെഡി പറഞ്ഞതാണ്. Since we are നമുക്ക് പ്രിസൈസ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള കോഡ് നമുക്ക് ജനറേറ്റ് ചെയ്യാം. Since we are much aware about the ആർക്കിടെക്ചറിനെ പറ്റിയും മെമ്മറിയെ പറ്റിയും രജിസ്റ്റർ സെറ്റ്സിനെ പറ്റിയും നമുക്ക് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ പ്രോഗ്രാം ചെയ്യുന്ന ആൾക്ക് ഒരു വ്യക്തമായ ധാരണ ഉള്ളതുകൊണ്ട് തന്നെ the code that we create will be highly precise and compact. Okay, അതുകൊണ്ട് ഇതെല്ലാം മ്യൂച്വലി റിലേറ്റഡ് ആണ്. Why? കോഡ്സ് കോമ്പാക്ട് ആണെന്ന് പറയുന്നതുകൊണ്ടാണ് നമുക്ക് ഫസ്റ്റ് പോയിന്റ് പറയാൻ പറ്റുന്നത് എഫിഷ്യന്റ് കോഡ് മെമ്മറി ആൻഡ് ഡാറ്റ മെമ്മറി. കോഡ്സ് ആർ കോമ്പാക്ട് അല്ലെ, അതുകൊണ്ടാണ് അധികം കോഡ് മെമ്മറി നമുക്ക് യൂസ് ചെയ്യേണ്ടി വരാത്തത്. അതുകൊണ്ട് തന്നെയാണ് ഹൈ പെർഫോമൻസ് നമുക്ക് കിട്ടുന്നത്. ഓക്കെ, ദീസ് ആർ ഓൾ മ്യൂച്വലി റിലേറ്റഡ്. Certain codes such as device driver codes may need only few assembly instructions. Fine. Bottom-up design approach is easily usable. Bottom-up design approach in the sense, see, first the code of basic functional modules or sub-modules, and then we will be designing the bigger module. നമ്മൾ ആദ്യമേ നമ്മൾ ക്രിയേറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നത് സബ് മോഡ്യൂൾസ് ആയിരിക്കും. ചെറിയ ചെറിയ ഫങ്ഷൻസ് ആയിരിക്കും നമ്മൾ ആദ്യമേ ക്രിയേറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ മോഡ്യൂൾസ് ആയിരിക്കും നമ്മൾ ആദ്യമേ ക്രിയേറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് ഫ്രം ബോട്ടം, ആൻഡ് ദെൻ ഓൺലി വി വിൽ കോഡ് ദ bigger modules. So initially sub modules or smaller modules will be created, and then only we will be using, and by using these sub modules we will be building a higher module. That is actually bottom up design. നമുക്ക് C programming നമ്മൾ വേറെ രീതിയിലായിരിക്കും, top down approach ആയിരിക്കും നമ്മൾ ഈ high level programming നമ്മൾ യൂസ് ചെയ്യും. Whereas in the case of assembly language we are having a bottom up design where the sub modules will be created at first, and by making use of these sub modules we will be creating higher modules or larger modules. ഈ ചെറിയ മോഡ്യൂൾസ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് സോഫ്റ്റ്വെയർ ഇത് നോക്കുകയാണെങ്കിൽ, see, if you are having a program for delay, you can write a program for delay. You can write a program for counting or finding the time intervals, right? നമ്മൾ ഇന്നലെ പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ we can have a program for counting. We can have a program for many such small applications. ഈ ചെറിയ ചെറിയ സ്പെസിഫിക് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ആപ്ലിക്കേഷൻസിന് വേണ്ടി we can write different programs, and these smaller programs are called modules അല്ലേ. Initially bottom up designൽ initially we will be creating these sub modules. ഒരു ഡിലേ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഒരു കൗണ്ടർ, ഇതിനുള്ള പ്രോഗ്രാംസ് ആയിരിക്കും നമ്മൾ ഇനീഷ്യലി ക്രിയേറ്റ് ചെയ്യുക, and then we will be making use of these modules to create a bigger module. So that is the concept of bottom up design. ഇതിന് നേരെ ഓപ്പോസിറ്റ് ആണ് നമുക്ക് high level language programs കാണുക. That is actually top bottom design. Okay, so these are the advantages. Yeah, these are the advantages of assembly language based development. Basically it is revolving around the parameter, like the processor or the programmer will have a better or great idea about the processor architecture, memory and register sets. ആ ഒരു പാരാമീറ്റർ വെച്ചിട്ടാണ് നമ്മൾ ഈ അഡ്വാൻറ്റേജ് പറയുന്നത്. That itself is a disadvantage. Okay, നമുക്ക് ഈ പറയുന്നത് തന്നെ ഈ ആർക്കിടെക്ചറിനെ പറ്റി ഒരു the programmer should be very well versed in the architecture എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ തന്നെ that itself is a disadvantage. കാരണം that is again a time consuming process അല്ലേ. നമുക്കൊരു പ്രോഗ്രാം അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഒരു കോഡ് നമുക്ക് എഴുതണമെങ്കിൽ we need to study the entire details of the architecture of that processor എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. That is a time consuming process. That will come under the disadvantage also. So നമ്മൾ ഈ പറയുന്ന ഇതൊക്കെ അഡ്വാൻറ്റേജ് ആണെങ്കിലും we will be having certain disadvantages, and that disadvantage is also due to this parameter. ഈ പറഞ്ഞ പോയിന്റ് കൊണ്ട് തന്നെയാണ് ഡിസഡ്വാൻറ്റേജ് ആവുന്നത്, because that will be a time consuming process. Okay, we'll see that later. So these are the advantages. Yeah, coming to disadvantages: high development time, developer dependency and non-portable nature. These are the drawbacks of assembly language program, because of which we are depending upon high level language programming in embedded system. നമ്മൾ embedded system high level language depend ചെയ്യാനുള്ള reasons ആണ് ഈ പറയുന്നത്. Because the assembly language is using high development time. Development time എന്തുകൊണ്ടാണ് കൂടുതൽ എന്നുള്ളത് I have mentioned that right now. Since the programmer or coder has to completely understand the architecture, registers and the memory, it will be a time consuming process to develop a code in assembly language. Okay. Then developer dependency. Developer dependency in the sense, നമുക്ക് high level language there will be some standard rules for developing the high level language. So in case of assembly language there is no such common written rules. നമുക്ക് common ആയിട്ടുള്ള written rules ഇല്ല. It will be completely under the control of the developer or the coder. High level language we cannot do that. We will be having certain set of rules for developing the application. Program code ചെയ്യുന്ന സമയത്ത് we will be having a set of rules which have to be followed in case of high level language programming, where that is not the case in assembly language. There is no such common written rules in assembly language. So അതുകൊണ്ട് തന്നെ ഡെവലപ്പർ ഡിപെൻഡൻസി എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ ഡെവലപ്പർ ടു ഡെവലപ്പർ ഇതിന്റെ അപ്രോച്ച് മാറും. പ്രോഗ്രാമിംഗ് അപ്രോച്ച് ബി ഡിഫറെന്റ്. ഓക്കെ, but that will not be the case in high level language. ഒരു റൂൾ അനുസരിച്ചായതുകൊണ്ട് വിൽ ബി ഹാവിംഗ് ദ സെയിം സെറ്റ് ഓഫ് പ്രോഗ്രാം ഫോർ ദ സ്പെസിഫിക് ആപ്ലിക്കേഷൻ. സ്പെസിഫിക് ആപ്ലിക്കേഷൻ വിൽ ബി ഹാവിംഗ് എ സ്പെസിഫിക് പ്രോഗ്രാം ഓൾസോ. That is the second point, high development time, then developer dependency, and finally the third one is non-portable nature. That is, if we have written an assembly instruction or assembly program for a particular family of processor, a certain family of processors, ഒരു 86 അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഇന്റലിന്റെ 86 family of processors വേണ്ടി നമ്മൾ ഒരു program code ചെയ്യുന്ന വിചാരിക്കുക. That cannot be reused for another set of or another target processor. ARM എന്ന് പറയുന്ന processor-ലേക്ക് we cannot take that. നമ്മൾ assembly language code ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ that will be highly processor dependent. That is, the function or the program that we create for a particular family of processor cannot be reused for any other family of processors. So that's why we call it as non-portable nature. So these are the major disadvantages of assembly language program. So advantages നമ്മൾ നോക്കി, disadvantages നോക്കി. So now ഇതൊക്കെ കാരണം നമ്മൾ we will be moving to the high level language. Clear or not? Now you have an idea about assembly language, right? എന്തെങ്കിലും ക്ലിയർ ആവുന്നുണ്ടോ? Wait, I cannot see the charts. Okay, fine. High level language we will discuss. We will start that second part നമുക്ക് അടുത്ത ക്ലാസ് സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്യും. ഈ മോഡ്യൂളും നമുക്ക് അധികം സമയം വേണ്ടി വരില്ല. Within 5 to 6 hours we will finish this up. Okay, you can mark your attendance now. Also, let me remind you, you will be having a webinar or expert talk by Dinesh sir on coming Saturday. So all the departments are arranging webinar. As part of that, we are also arranging. We are planning actually 2 webinar sessions for you. And the details will tell. But actually, we have recent trends in antenna and the topic. I mean, it's related to your subject, antenna wave propagation. So you'll be having a session on coming Saturday, 9:30. To be taken by Binesh sir from College of Engineering, Thalassery. We'll be sending the posters very soon. And one session we will arrange it will be related to programming both in embedded system as well as microcontroller. Programming in a workshop we will arrange that will be towards last. Sections I mean, that will be for the S4 students as well. So they also will have to deal with those topics in their subjects. After that, you will be having a session for that also. Okay, thank you.